All right, we have another game in the NFC on Sunday. You got Seattle playing at Minnesota. It's basically a pick-em game with a total of 41, 39 degrees and sunny in Minneapolis for this weekend. And it's kind of a team of similarities here. It's a pair of one-dimensional offenses. Love to run the football, not exceptional at passing the football. And then you got tough physical defenses as well. Seattle plays best at home, 4-2, but they're heading out on the road here with their 2 wins and 3 losses. Number 2 in the NFL in rushing, despite some injuries here with Marshawn Lynch, but they still can run the ball, particularly with the quarterback, Wilson, who's been terrific. 18 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, but he also has 385 yards rushing. And they come off a game against the Steelers at home where they gave up 30 points, but they ended up scoring 39 despite 538 yards. But they actually played very good defense as Richard Sherman and Cam Chancellor had a couple of key interceptions in the fourth quarter. So the offense was rolling, and this defense is still top 10 in the NFL. So Harvard, you got a Seattle team that's still stout on defense, but they're not always the same team at home or on the road, however.
Well, I think the dichotomy is exactly right. When they're on the road, they just play a little bit, very conservative, very soft. Richard Sherman and Cam Chancellor, they're pretty much the stars of that team, and I don't even think they'll be part of the win or loss in this game because Bridgewater, he's pretty competent. He throws very safe passes, 65% completions. The best strength, if you take strength versus strength, it's Seattle's defense versus the rush against the strength of Adrian Peterson, who's averaging about 5 yards per carry, and they're number 3 in rushing. So, the strength of the rush is offset by the strength of the defense for Seattle. So that kind of neutralizes things. If you take both quarterbacks, Bridgewater and Russell Wilson, they're basically 2 very good game managers. This is the perfect game to just manage and just run up and down the field and don't get caught, doing stuff that you should be doing and getting some costly turnovers. Seattle, they're number 3 in points allowed for their defense at 17.5 points per game. Minnesota, number 4, they only allow 18. So you got a team that's allowing 17, one's allowing 18. There's no flashy wide receivers to have to worry about. So what do? Turn it around just to do one more check and balance. How do they do in passing? Well, Minnesota is number 30 in passing. So I don't look for anything substantial there. Seattle, they're number 26 in passing, nothing substantial. I think what this is going to come down to is a very slow-paced, vanilla played game. And probably for the first time this year, I'm playing an under 41.5.
All right, and it should be cold up there, even though it's going to be a sunny day. Vikings have been an under machine, 9-1-1 under the total run. They've also been a cover machine, 9-2 ATS. They play a physical defense under Mike Zimmer, who got there last year. They've also been covering games for a while, 24-9 against the spread. Bounced back from that loss of Green Bay, which was a big one for them, but played exceptional last week on the road at Atlanta, allowing just 10 points and 329 total yards. In fact, the Vikings play 3 of the next 4 games at home. The one weak spot on the team, or question mark, I guess the way I see it, is Teddy Bridgewater. You mentioned his completion percentage. Yes, it is. He's terrific. On the other hand, he holds on to the ball a lot, which is not surprising for a guy who's 23 years old. 30 sacks on the year, 8 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Not sizzling. When I see him play, he holds on to it too long, and I think, they need a replacement. And then he'll make a really good play with his legs or his arm. But it's still a run-oriented team with Adrian Peterson, and this defense is very good. So, Zach, you got a team here that's home, and they've been covering numbers for a long time. Seems solid pretty much everywhere.
Yeah. Teddy Bridgewater, he's one of those quarterbacks that's taken a lot of hits as well. The last 2-3 weeks, it looks like he was going to come out of last week's game against Atlanta when he took that vicious hit on 3rd down. The week before against Green Bay, missed a play for Sean Hill to come in the game, then he came back in. So he's a tough quarterback, and he's really probably the only quarterback in the NFL right now that's reliant on a very strong run game. Adrian Peterson, I'm kicking myself for not putting a prop bet on him at 4-1 before the season to be the rushing yard leader. Just phenomenal year from him, and a really great string of games the last 3 weeks. He's delivered the death blows over the Raiders and last week's game against Atlanta with these game-clinching long touchdown runs. So he's the key factor. Can Seattle stop that run game? I think they can limit him just a little bit. Packers were able to do it a few weeks ago. And that's the key, because Teddy Bridgewater's not going to win a game with his arm. He's going to win a game by managing it, like Hollis just said. And at home, I expect Zimmer to protect that football and not let them lose the game with Teddy Bridgewater. So it should be a low-scoring game, but I think Seattle has that edge factor that I discussed in last week's write-up. I said at this time of the year, you've got to look forward to who's going to make the playoffs. The Seahawks were 2 games back of the Vikings in that wild card position, whatever you want to call it. They got the win last week, and now if they get this win, they'll just be a full game back, closing that gap ever so slightly. And they're a team that's improving. Sometimes teams lose key players and they get better, and that's happened with the Seattle Seahawks. Marshawn Lynch going down, Jimmy Graham going down. All of a sudden, they're back to their old style, where they have no names on offense and they're getting the job done. How it happens, I don't know, but you're seeing Doug Baldwin reemerge, Curse reemerge, that backup tight end emerge, and all of a sudden the offensive line's playing better with Thomas Rawls running all over the field. So defense never is going to be as good as it was 2 or 3 years ago, but where they're at right now is just fine for a matchup against Teddy Bridgewater. Stop the run game or keep them under 100 yards, and they win this game on the road, Seahawks.
All right, well, I'm looking for a defensive battle, too, as you guys said or implied. You get Seattle. When the weather turns cold like this, Seattle in December, 9-1 run under the total, meaning we have a Minnesota offense that is conservative, on a 27-1 run under the total. When they face a team with a winning record, a perfect 6-0 under the total. I'm looking at a battle of field goals here in the cool weather of Minnesota, and I can't imagine Bridgewater going to wing them down the field for a lot of yards or points. So maybe a 17-13 or 17-16 kind of ball game.
One thing I forgot to mention in my analysis there is don't forget Russell Wilson. He has that experience up north from his senior graduate transfer year at Wisconsin. So he's played outdoors, he's experiencing that, and he'll be able to have his team ready.
All right, so we've got one on Seattle and a couple of unders. Let's tell you what we have going on for the weekend. However, your top plays are called these 10-star plays. These are high roller selections. Last week, Oklahoma and Florida State. Actually, no, it was Denver Broncos and Florida State. And that's part of a 21-8 run on these plays. How can folks get those for the weekend?
Well, 21-8, 72%. There's probably been 1,000 games this year. I've played 29 top plays. So, I'm very, very selective with these, and they're supposed to win. And this is a high mark. Everybody in Vegas has been talking about these plays, 21-8. It's not to be taken lightly. And who knows what it'll be next year or the year after. But right now, everything's right. Power ratings are right. The numbers are right. The thinking is right. So I like that. This week coming up, love one of the championship games on Saturday for the conference title. You got to click in and get that play. It's a 10-star play, championship game. And it's not even the biggest game, even though it'll have the same rating. This Sunday, I have my NFL high roller game of the year, the granddaddy of them all. It's also a 10-star. What I'm going to do is give a twofer. You click in on Friday or Saturday and get that championship game, and the NFL high roller game of the year will be there right with it. No extra charge. Just one click gets you 2-0.
All right, and Zach, you've been consistent all season long in the NFL and college football. You were part of a handicapper 3-pack on the website, which we had 2-0-1. We went on Saturday. One play from Jim Feist, one from Harvard. That was Oklahoma. Jim Feist had San Diego State, which was a push or a win. And then Harvard, you had Idaho. How do folks get that for the weekend?
Yeah, we always have that 3-pack up by Friday. I'll probably include a Sun Belt play again. I love that conference. I think I've had 2 losses all year in that conference. It's really helped me stage my percentage at the level it's at. So I'll probably have 2 plays from that conference and a couple from the conference championship games. Get aboard on jimfeist.com for both packages. NFL 31-15 this year, NCAA football 41-24. College basketball just started 17-11, and NBA's 26-14. So just looking to hold steady in all the sports.
All right, do you ever get emails from people saying, you gave me a Sun Belt game? I can't watch that on TV. What is this?
The one thing about it, though, is the Sun Belt and the MAC, and this is advantageous for anybody, not just being in Las Vegas, but you've got to utilize your ESPN3 subscriptions, and that's one of the conferences that's on ESPN3 each and every week. So you can watch every single game and get great analysis if you're into tracking teams like that.
All right, and Jim Feist has his NFC East Game of the Year. That is up and available early at jimfeist.com. Last week he hit his TV showdown game. That was the Denver Broncos, and a nice comeback, a straight-up winner as a dog. You can find those plays and more at jimfeist.com. You can also call the office for selections 1-855-846-7426. If you want to get free plays sent right to your cell phone, just text GAME at the number right on your screen, or you can go to jimwins.com. All right, that'll do it for the NFL version of ProLine. Good luck with the games, everyone, and we'll see you next week.